Hello everyone, welcome to the Board Gamers. My name is Dave,
And I'm Dirk.
and today we're going to do a hero review for Angel. Angel is the came out in the next evolution wave.
Or as I like to refer to, Archangel, because that's my favorite iteration.
Yeah, so Angel is one of the triple changers, as I call him. He actually has three sides to his hero card. So here's Angel as a hero, and he has a hand size 5, 12 hit points. He's a 2/1/2, and his response is after you play an aerial event, draw one card, limit once per phase. Once per phase. So that's also good for like during the villain phase if you do a protection aerial
So
card.
if we're doing the hero
We'll
phase,
just do this one.
oh, are you gonna make me do that? Oh no, you do that. I want to do Archangel.
All right, fine.
Yep.
Then we have Warren Worthington. He's 6 hand size, of course, 3 recovery, and as an action, you can heal 1 damage from Warren Worthington, limited once per round. So that's, he's got kind of the Ant-Man thing going a little bit. And he's got another form that we don't care
But
about.
what I like is the fact that you can do his hero form action and one of his hero actions at the same time. In fact, if you're able to manage to hit all 3 of them, which there are ways to do that, then you can actually use each of his abilities, special abilities. But as Archangel, he is a 0/2/3, so he does not have any built-in fort. You can always add it to him because unlike Hulk, he doesn't have the dash, he has a 0. So you can give him fort. But as Archangel, when you are in this form, the drawback to him is the fact that he has an acceleration token in play anytime he is in the Archangel form. So you do have to keep that in mind if you are playing him. I do have an aggression deck that I like to play that I tend to stay in this form. So you do have to either hit fast or have some way to deal with the threat that comes out, especially if you're playing solo. If you're playing on team, a lot of times your teammate can help out with that, and you just let them know that, hey, it's kind of what I'm going to do. So we just got to account for it. But no, I haven't said this ability yet. The ability is what is it called? The Angel of Death. But in the Angel of Death, once per turn, as a response after you play an aerial event, you can, he does on this one, he
Does damage equal to the
does
cost.
damage to the enemy or to an enemy, so you could choose the enemy, equal to the printed cost of that event.
And again, that's a limit once per phase, so
Yeah.
you can do it with a protection card in the villain phase.
Yes. So that's a nice thing about him there. So, and I think he did come with protection, and he works very, very well in protection. Although I kind of prefer using him, just my own personal preference, the decks that I enjoy. I've got 2 decks. I've got an aggression deck, like I said, and a justice deck. Both. I really like playing with him. Even though, I mean, he's fun in every aspect. He definitely is. And I actually think in leadership, he might actually have more things that tie into his abilities in leadership, to be honest.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to first look at his hero cards. So his signature ally is Psylocke. She costs 3. She's at 1/1, 3 hit points. Psionic X-Force. After Psylocke attacks, if you are Angel, you can heal 1 damage from Psylocke, and if you're Archangel, you can ready your hero.
So yeah, you do have to kind of, you can plan a little bit there, but yeah, you can definitely take advantage of whichever form you decide you want to be in there. So then we also have 2 copies of Adaptive Plumage. That's a 3-cost event. It's an aerial attack. It's a fort event as well. But as a hero action, you can fort. If you're Angel, you remove 3 threat from a scheme and confuse an enemy. And if you are Archangel, you deal 4 damage to an enemy and you stun it. So again, and that's what I like about a lot of his cards is your form matters on the cards, and you tend to be able to use, I think, all of them, or at least most of them, in either form.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got kind of a combination of Ant-Man and Wasp, because as he changes forms, he gets an ability no, that's not true. He does not. He gets a different usage, I guess.
Yeah, he gets an
He's more like Wasp
his
because
innate ability changes.
his cards work in either form, but they do something different.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a mixture of them, I guess, a bit. All right, so then we have Aerial Agility. We have 2 copies. It's a 1-cost event. Hero Interrupt Defense. When an enemy attacks, if you are Angel, ignore each boost icon and each boost ability for the attack. So you basically turn off the boost card.
Yeah, which I like that because when you're in angel form, you don't defend as well.
Yeah, he's only got a 2. Well, he's got a 2 defense instead of 3. But
Yeah.
and when you're Archangel, give your hero a tough status card and gain retaliate for this attack.
Yep.
So again, he's not taking damage. Well, Angel, he's taking the villain's base effect, I guess. But in Archangel, he's taking no damage, unless of course the villain has piercing, I guess.
Yeah. And also, and if you're playing that in protection, you can actually hold on to that toughness as well that you get.
Yeah.
If you block.
And again, this is a card that you could play. You play during the villain phase, so you can draw a card if you're Angel, or you can do 1 point of damage to a villain because it's only a 1-cost card. But
yeah,
or you can do damage.
Yeah, but then again, it's an event that you're playing during the villain phase and dealing damage to the villain. So that's always nice. So we've got 2 copies of Metamorphosis. This is a 2-cost event. It's an aerial event. It's an action. You change form. Then, after you change, if you are Warren, you draw a card. If you are Angel, you remove 3 threat from a scheme. 2 threats, sorry. And if you're Archangel, you deal 3 damage to an enemy. So that depends on what form you're changing into. So, of course, you could always, if you wanted to, you could start out in, say, for instance, you start out as Angel. You you use the Metamorphosis to flip to Warren Worthington. You draw a card when you flip, and then when you come back up with your normal, you come up into Archangel. So there, and then you can also take advantage of all 3 of his innate abilities in each of those.
Okay, now this card's a little unique to his kit. I mean, you can play it as Archangel, but you get a bonus if you're Angel.
Yep.
So there's 2 copies of Natural Flight. It's a 2-cost event, aerial thwart. Hero action thwart, remove 4 threat from a scheme. If you're Angel, this threat ignores the crisis and patrol keywords. So it's not that, if those aren't out, then it doesn't matter if you're Angel or Archangel. But, if there's a crisis or you've got a minion with patrol, then you want to be Angel to play this card.
Yeah, and that's one of the few times that if I were playing solo Angel Aggression, I'm probably flipping down to I'm probably flipping to the Angel form with that, even though I like to stay in Archangel there. But here we've got 2 copies of Razor Dive. It's a 3-cost event, and it's an aerial attack. And then as a hero action, you deal 6 damage to the enemy. And in this case, this is an Archangel specific one. So if you're Archangel, this attack gains overkill and piercing. So that's a really nice one if you're playing the aggression round.
All right, and then he has 2 resource cards that come in his kit. Avian Anatomy. Response: after you spin this card to play for an aerial event, return that event to your hand after resolving its effect. Now he's got a lot of native aerial cards, and of course there's a lot of aerial cards in aspects that you're going to see here in a little bit. So you got a lot of opportunities to use the aerial card twice, and you get 2 copies.
I always did think though a little bit. I mean, the fact that aerial anatomy as a resource, that's scary. The thought of using your anatomy as a resource, avian anatomy, but the thought of using your anatomy as a resource, a little bit creepy to me. But okay, sure, I still like it.
You play Wolverine skeleton, rocket cybernetic skeleton.
All right, so here we have Worthington Industries. It's a 1-cost support. It's a location. But as an action, you can exhaust Warren Worthington, so you do have to use this while you are in Alter Ego. But you can shuffle an aerial card from your discard pile into your deck. And then if you're in Alter Ego form, which you should be because you're exhaust. Oh, no. Oh, you exhaust Worthington Energy. So you can exhaust it in either form. But if you're in Alter Ego, you can then draw a card.
Yeah.
So you can always bring an aerial card back from your discard pile. But then if you are Alter Ego, you get a card. That's what it is.
Okay, and this is his only superpower in his deck, I believe.
Yes.
It's a 3-cost upgrade. Techno-organic wings, superpower tech, exhaust techno-organic wings. If you're Angel, you get to ready your hero. And if you're Archangel, reduce the cost to play the next aerial event card you play from your hand this phase by 2.
Yeah, so that's a really nice one. Like I said, especially like if you're doing a home technique aggression deck or whatever, reducing the cost by 2, you can get some big damage out cheap with that card. But then again, also if you're playing Angel, though, you get that ready with that. So that's nice on either one.
Okay,
it really helps.
One thing we're doing with the next evolution waves is we're going over the obligation and Nemesis set. So this is his obligation: apocalyptic influence. Give to the Warren Worthington the 3rd player. When revealed, if you are Archangel form, place 2 threat on the main scheme. Otherwise, you change to Archangel form. And as an alter ego ability, deal the first player and a counter card to discard this card. And as long as it's in play, it's a hazard. So the first player is going to get a card, but when you finally get rid of it, the first player is still going to get a card for that final turn. And then it's discarded. Like, again, being an X-Force, these don't go out of the game. They stay in the game.
Yeah, and I like the fact that a lot of these Next Evolution side schemes, not only do they have that aspect of them, but they have the addition, like this one has the hazard.
Hazard,
Yeah, this one has the, hey, I got it.
Right, but you call it a side scheme.
Semantics. So I love the fact that they've got, like this one has the hazard, so they've got those extra little things to them as well, in addition to the fact that they don't go away. Also, this one's really unique in the fact that it doesn't flip you to alter ego like a lot of them do. It flips you to one of a specific hero file. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right, here we've got Harpoon, which is his signature Nemesis, but he is a 1/1 with, does he have, no, he gets a +1 attack while attacking a character with the aerial trait. So anytime he's attacking one of the angel forms, or if you're using aerial allies because of the boosts you get with those, then he gets +1 attack when attacking those. But also when revealed, you discard cards from the top of the deck until you discard
Top of your deck until you discard it.
discard event and take indirect damage equal to that event's printed cost.
He has a lot of events.
Yeah, and he has some expensive ones too. So.
All right, so we got his side scheme here. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm going to bag me a bird. Harpoon. Each attack from a brute enemy deals indirect damage, and he is a brute.
He is a brute. He's also a marauder, which does come into play with some other side schemes if they come out.
And after a friendly character takes any amount of indirect damage, exhaust that character. He does indirect, I think, right?
No, he does. He just gets bonuses if he's attacking aerial characters.
And it's 2 crit per player, and a 3 boost if it comes out as a boost.
But I think
this gives
this is where he gets the indirect right here.
Yeah.
So he's got harpoon. There you go. That's a fun one. But it is an attachment. It's a weapon attachment, and you attach it to Harpoon if he's in play. If not, I think you search for it, attack and discard pile. Then you attach that card to him. But if you can't, then it gets Surge. But as a first response, after he attacks you, you take 2 indirect damage. So then that's when the hook, line, and sinker comes into play there with that indirect.
And it gives him an extra +1.
Yeah, extra +1. So.
Okay. And then we have his Treacheries, which is 2 copies of Spear Shot. When revealed, discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard an event. Take indirect damage equal to the event's printed cost. If that event has the aerial trait, this card gains Surge. And as a boost, you take 2 indirect. So there's a whole lot of indirect going on with Harpoon.
Yeah, and what I love the fact that, they recognize the fact that because of the aerial and stuff, that makes Dive Bomb with the Home Technique a really good concept cards. It's, so you're trying to get expensive aggression attack events in there. If you're doing that, he plays really well with aggression, so he punishes you for it there with it. So I like that.
All right, so now we're going to go over the different aspects. And they're cards that are either X-Force, aerial, or maybe a card that we think is really good with him.
And with those, there's kind of a little bit of combination on some of these that they're both X-Force and aerial. So we start here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Boom Boom. She's a 3-cost ally.
I know Dave really likes this one.
Yeah, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 hit points, X-Force, exhaust Boom Boom, add 1 boom counter to her. Then you may discard Boom Boom to deal 1 damage to each enemy for each boom counter on her. Tick, tick, tick. Yeah, so I think the word boom is in there like 8 times or something.
Well, she's boom boom.
She is boom boom.
All right, then we have here, we've got Shatterstorm. He's a 4-cost X-Force ally, so he fits into that one, but he thwarts for 2, he attacks for 2, and he has 4 hit points. But as an interrupt, when he attacks a minion, you engage that minion, and you were already engaged with that minion, he gains +1 to his attack. So he can actually attack for 3 if you are already engaged with the minion. And of course, if you're playing aggression, you have ways to drag those minions over. Because here we've got a card that goes really well with him, is Get Over Here. And it's one, it does not have the aerial trait or anything natively in it, but as an attack event, you engage an enemy, you deal damage to a minion, and if you have the aerial trait, then you engage it. So you can engage the minion because you have aerial, and then he can deal an extra damage to it, so to get 3. So
Okay. Then we got Wasp. She costs 0. She's 1 thwart, 3 attack, 0 hit points. Aerial Avenger. Wasp gets +1 hit point for each pin counter on her. Interrupt. When Wasp enters play, place 1 pin counter on her to a maximum of 3 for each energy resource you overpay for this for Wasp cost. And you're going to see a card that provides a lot of energy here later on.
okay, then you have a 2-cost event here. It's called Bombs Away. It's an aerial tactic, but as a hero action, you exhaust an aerial character that you control, and you choose a player, deal 3 damage to the villain, and each minion engage it with that player. So it's a way to deal a good AoE, but since it is not an attack, you would not gain retaliate from it.
Or consequential damage.
Yeah, or consequential.
You did an ally. And then we got Dive Bomb, which we didn't pull it, but Home Technique would be an amazing card.
Yes.
For this deck idea. So Dive Bomb costs 4. Aerial attack, play only great entity has the aerial trait. Hero action, deal 7 damage to an enemy, deal 1 damage to each other enemy. So if you Home Technique that's 11 and 5 to all the other enemies.
And what I like is, whenever I play this one with Aggression, I like to do the Home Technique thing with it. But this Warren Worthington, or this Worthington Enterprises, it grabs an aerial card. It doesn't care if it is an angel card. Dive Bomb is an aerial card, so you can replay that card multiple times with that. We also have Pitchback here, which is a 1-cost aerial attack event. And you can only play this one if you have the aerial trait. But as a hero response, after a hero attacks, you can deal 4 damage to an enemy.
After your hero.
Or after your hero. So yeah, basically you do any kind of attack. It doesn't say a basic attack. So just after you do an attack, then you can play this for an additional cost to deal an additional 4 damage. Or deal 4 damage to another enemy.
All right, so then now we're going to move to Justice here. So we've got a 4-cost ally, Banshee, 2 thwart, 2 attack, aerial, X-Men, 3 hit points. Response, after Banshee thwarts, confuse a minion.
So yeah, confusion's always a nice thing to have there for him. So then we've got Captain Britain. Now, Captain Britain at a 4-cost is a 4-cost ally, a little bit on the expensive side. He does do 3 thwart and 3 attack, but he takes dual consequential on each of them. And only having 3 hit points under a lot of normal conditions, then that, depending if you're using them to attack the villain or to thwart the main scheme, then it's a little bit expensive to play in that way. However, he has the ability that if he takes 1 less consequential damage if he is attacking a minion or if he is thwarting a side scheme. So if you kind of selectively choose when you use him, that 4-cost is way easier to swallow then, because you can stick him around for a little bit longer.
And if you're playing the campaign, he's one of my favorites to throw in for the missions because you get to ignore the text.
Yes, but Bobby, he's aerial, so if you're using a team building, of course, he only costs 3, so it's a little bit easier to swallow there as well.
Yeah. All right, so got Quasar, 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, aerial guardian. Response, after Quasar enters play, remove 1 threat from each scheme in play.
Yep, so great justice card there. Then we have Agile Flight. So this is a 3-cost event. It's a thwart event, but you can only play this one if you have the aerial trait, which of course you do. But as a hero action, you can remove a total of 5 threat from among schemes as you choose. So you can split it up. So it is a little bit more expensive than something like a multitasking, but instead of doing just 2 schemes, or if you can do 1 across 5 different schemes if you choose to do that, or if you can do 4 off one, 1 off another, whatever works better for you. So, and considering the fact that it is aerial, of course you use team building, it only costs 2. So
all right, next we have Yaw and Roll. It's a 1-cost event, aerial thwart, play only great entity has the aerial trait. Hero response thwart, after your hero thwarts, remove 3 threat from a scheme.
So you can thwart, and then for an additional cost, you can remove 3 threat from either the same or another scheme. I love that card. But again, you've got to have the aerial trait, so that's what justifies the lower cost of it. So now here we have a 0 cost upgrade. It's called Eye in the Sky. It's a preparation card. It's an aerial. So too bad he's not a spy, huh? Well, spies like the preparation cards.
That's true.
But it's a hero interrupt. So when you when
When you reveal a non-elite minion,
when you reveal a non-elite minion,
exhaust an aerial character you control and discard this card. Cancel the effect of that card and discard it. Then reveal another card from the encounter deck.
yeah, so it's basically it's got the Black Widow ability built into that one in for an aerial character. So right.
Then we got leadership.
Right, so for leadership here, the first thing we've got is Adam Warlock. It's a 3-cost ally. He thwarts for 1, he attacks for 1, but as a response, whenever he attacks or thwarts, you discard a random card from your hand, and then based off of the resource icons printed on the card, you get 1 or more of these abilities. So most of them are only going to have 1, but some of them do have multiples.
Okay. So we got Caliban, who's a 3-cost ally. He's Psionic X-Force, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. Response: after Caliban enters play, discard cards from the top of your deck until an X-Factor, X-Force, or X-Men ally is discarded. Add that ally to your hand.
So, it depends. If you're kind of playing the aerial thing, he doesn't work as well. But if you are playing an X-Force themed deck, then he's really good to be able to get X-Force stuff out there. Here we've got Captain Marvel. She's a 5-cost ally, so she's on the expensive side, but she thwarts for 2 and attacks for 3. Her attacks do take dual consequential, but she has 4 hit points. She is aerial, and as a response, then after she enters play, you discard the top 4 cards of your deck, and if you discard a printed energy resource, you deal 3 damage to an enemy. And if you discard more than 1 printed resource, you also stun that enemy. So she's really nice to be able to stun enemies when she comes out.
All right, so then we got Cloud9 here. She's a 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack. Aerial champion, 3 hit points. Hero action: exhaust Cloud9 and choose a player. Until the end of the phase, each aerial character that player controls gets +1 thwart.
So of course, choose yourself if you're playing the aerial theme. There works out really nice. Here we've got Domino. So Domino is a 3-cost ally. She thwarts for 1. She attacks for 2. Has got 3 health, but she is she's part of the posse, but she is X-Force. So that's why we've got her here. But as a response, after you use 1 of Domino's basic powers, you can swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. So that allows you to kind of manipulate the deck a little bit. And if you've got something that you don't want to use this turn or whatever, you can always swap that out, or you could use it to manipulate it for other cards that do deal with the top of the deck somewhere. So standalone card.
And you could put the 2 basic posses in there and be able to play that posse card, but I don't know if Angel part of the posse would be very efficient.
The flying posse.
All right, so we got Phantom X.
I love this card.
He's a 4-cost ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points. Psionic X-Force. After Phantom X enters play, search your deck and discard pile for Eva and put it into play, and then shuffle. So Eva here is a 0-cost support.
And I love the fact that Eva's a support and not an ally.
Yeah. If Phantom X is not in play, you discard Eva. Action: exhaust Eva, choose, remove 1 threat from a scheme, deal 1 damage to an enemy, or heal 1 damage from Phantom X.
Yeah, now the interesting thing about this is Eva's not she's not a card that comes from out of play. She does actually count toward your deck size.
Yeah.
But and if she shows up, she is a wild resource, so at least there's that. I mean, it would not have been as nice to play her if she had no resource on her or whatever. But with the wild, it definitely makes it worth it if you don't have Phantom X.
Yeah, if you don't have Phantom X in your hand, you have Eva. You definitely want to play it as a resource because
Yes.
Phantom X brings Eva out.
Yep.
So this card is useless in your hand without Phantom X.
Yep. So now here we've got Falcon, and this is the Sam Wilson one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is the Sam Wilson Falcon. He's our 4-cost ally. He thwarts for 2, attacks for 2, has 3 health. But he does have the aerial trait. And then after he enters play, you look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, and for each treachery card you looked at this way, you can remove 1 threat from a scheme. So for each one, so that means if you see three of them, if all three of them are treacheries, you don't have to remove it from the same scheme because it's for each one you can remove it from a scheme.
Yeah.
So that's I like the versatility built into it.
All right, then we got Falcon, the Joaquin Torres version. 4 cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, aerial champion. Hero response: after Falcon attacks or thwarts, spend an energy resource to ready another champion character you control. So his ability, unless you're putting in some other champions, and there are a couple. I think Cloud9, she's a champion,
Yeah.
isn't she?
So there are definitely some other
There are a
champions.
couple other aerial champions, but that's not probably your main focus with Angel. But this is another.
It's another aerial ally, and like I said, there's cards that interact with the aerial trait. So
Sure.
the aerial allies are really nice. Here we have Pixie. She is a 2-cost ally. She is aerial, but she thwarts for 1, attacks for 2. She does take 2 consequential on the attack, and she only has 2 hit points, so she'll only get a single attack if she comes out. But as a response, after you play Pixie from your hand, you can add an X-Men ally from your discard pile to your hand. So again, you do specifically have to be using X-Men allies, but if you have a specific X-Men ally that you want to be able to play, she is really good to be able to bring that one back. And again, even if not, I mean, she's aerial. If you're using team building, she's an ally that costs 1, that can thwart for 2.
All right, then we got Sunspot. He's a 3-cost ally, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 2 hit points, aerial X-Force. After you play Sunspot from your hand, choose a player, deal 1 damage to the villain, and each minion engage with the chosen player for each energy resource used to pay for Sunspot. So that's pretty good.
All right, then you've got X-23. So she is a 3-cost ally. She thwarts for 1, attacks for 3, has 3 health, but she does have the X-Force keyword. And then after she attacks and defeats an enemy, you can ready her. So she can turn around and attack again. With that 3 attack, that's pretty nice because, I mean, there are definitely a lot of minions out there with more than 3 health, but there's a lot of them with 1 or 2. So she's really nice in that aspect.
So a good leadership deck with Angel would be an ally swarm deck.
And so before we move on, so with the allies here, this is an upgrade, but this is one that I like. It does not come with the aerial keyword, but it will give the aerial keyword to a character, which is why I like this one. I think it's a good attachment. Now, the negative is you can only use it with an Avenger ally, but if you do have Avengers in there, you can give it aerial, and then you can exhaust this to ready them, and they also will help trigger the aerial abilities that deal, that come up with that, like this one.
Like this one, yeah. So this is a 2-cost event, air supremacy, aerial tactic, hero action. Choose up to X enemies, where X is equal to the number of aerial cards you control. Deal 3 damage to each chosen enemy. So, you obviously you got your standard 3 allies, that if you're doing this ally swarm, you could throw the Triskelion in your deck, so you could have an extra one. So this is where you could do 3 damage to 4 enemies if you can increase your ally.
Yeah, like I said, that Sky Cycle, it allows you to take a standard Avenger that doesn't normally have it and give them aerial. So that's why I like that one. Flying Formation here, it's a 4-cost event. It is an aerial tactic, but it's an alliance one. So you can actually have, if you have teammates in this, if you're not doing a solo game, your teammates can help you pay for this one. But as a hero action, you can ready up to 3 aerial characters. And it doesn't say, I mean, these could be allies, those could be other heroes, which there's a good way to entice other heroes to actually help you pay for it.
Right. Assuming they have the aerial trait.
Yes.
Or have aerial allies, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, now we're moving on to.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Now we're moving on to protection. So this is a 4-cost ally, Elixir. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 hit points, X-Force. Play only if your identity has the X-Force or the X-Men trait. After Elixir attacks or thwarts, heal 1 damage from another friendly character.
Okay. Next here we have Siren. Siren is a 4-cost ally. She has 2 thwart and 2 attack. She is aerial and X-Force, so she has both of his keywords here. She's got 3 hit points, but after she attacks, you can stun a minion. I am not going to say that. I think it's a great flavor text, but I'm not saying it.
We have Starhawk. 2-cost ally.
This guy's fun.
1 thwart, 2 attack with 2 consequential, 3 hit points, aerial guardian. Interrupt. When Starhawk takes damage exactly equal to his remaining hit points, return them to your hand. And since it's like 1 consequential thwart and 2 consequential on attack, you can easily kind of control him taking exact damage.
Yeah, and you can take advantage of retaliate also with that, which we've done several times. This is one we use him a lot, but with Angel, I really like him, especially because he has the aerial keyword, so that you can get him, you can replay him cheaper.
Yeah.
With team building.
And you have him defend against a minion when you know how much damage
Yep.
they're going to do. You know, there's that as well. Okay, then we got Warpath.
So Warpath is a 4-cost ally. He's thwarts for 2, attacks for 2. He does take 2 consequential when he thwarts, and he's got 4 hit points, but he has both the aerial and the X-Force keywords. He does come in with toughness, and then after he defeats a
Defends.
or defends against an attack, then you can play an event with the hero action ability from your hand, paying its. You do have to pay its cost, but so this is as a during the villain phase, you can play one of your hero actions.
Yeah, so you sit there and
And of course, these
play Razor Dive during the villain phase. That's like amazing.
yeah, depending on which form you're in, these Angel, these do say once per phase. They don't say
Right.
once per turn. So if you manage to pull Warpath off there, then you're getting to use. You can potentially use those in both phases.
Okay.
Or both. Yeah, both phases.
So Archangel has a 3 defense, so a perfect defense or high defense. Now we did not pull all the perfect defense cards.
Yeah, no.
But I did pull the card that came with his kit mainly because of his name. And
Yeah, it's his namesake card. I
plus
mean,
it's
come
also
on.
really good. It's a
Yes.
1 cost support, Angel's Airy. So location response. After you defend against an attack, place 1 fatigue counter here. Then as an alter ego action, remove each fatigue counters from here. Heal 1 damage from your identity for each fatigue counter removed this way.
Yeah.
So this is really good. You're defending for the group, taking a lot of damage. You go down and
Yeah, so I mean that one's actually good for any protection player that's trying to
Yeah.
play or that has a good protection ability, or any character that has well, it does have to be a protection character. Any protection character that's got a good protection ability, but of course, being Angel's namesake, it's even better.
that's why I included it.
Okay, here so we have a 0-cost event. It's called Aerial Intervention. It is an aerial event, and as an interrupt, when a character would shoot.
My character would take any amount of
damage from an attack, you can exhaust an aerial character you control and prevent up to 3 damage from that character. And it does not have to be the character that's taking the attack. So you can exhaust any aerial character, and if you've got one that is like close to dying or something, you can throw them there and get keep them around for an extra turn and use them to block later if you need to or something.
All right. Then we have Ever Vigilant. It's a 2-cost event. Aerial skill, play only for identity has an aerial trait. Ready your hero and remove 2 threat from the main scheme.
Yeah, this one's nice because you get. I mean, it's not that expensive. With team building and what's the protection? The one that reduced the cost of protection events.
Oh, I don't.
I can't even remember what that one's called right off the top of my head. But you can actually get that one played for free. All right, so here we've got height advantage. It is a 1-cost upgrade. It's an aerial tactic. But while your identity has the aerial trait, that has the aerial.
While your identity
has the aerial trait,
reduce the amount of damage you take from each enemy
attack by 1. So, but whenever your turn begins, you do discard the card. So you only get the height advantage for 1 turn, but it does reduce damage you take while you've got that.
Yeah. So you got a bunch of Ultron drones.
I'm having a hard time seeing today.
That's really good for, like, say, Ultron. You got a whole bunch of Ultron drones in front of you. It's like, I'll take nothing from all those drones.
Yeah.
Okay, then the only pool card we pulled here is Negasonic Teenage Warhead, 4-cost, 2 thwart, 2 attack, and as all the pool cards, there's no consequential damage. She's got 4 hit points. Psionic X-Force. When a treachery is revealed, deal 2 damage to Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Cancel the treachery's when revealed effect, and she's got a hazard.
Yeah, so we do know that there's some pretty nasty when revealed effects. So I mean, I do like playing her. With the X-Force, of course. That it makes it a little bit cheaper to play here. All right, so now we're to our basic cards here. We've got a basic card that I love playing this guy with Angel. Cannonball. He's a 3-cost ally. He thwarts for 2. He attacks for 2. He does take 2 consequential on each of those, and he only has 2 hit points. But he does have the aerial and X-Force traits. But as an interrupt, whenever he would take any amount of consequential damage, you can reduce the amount of it where X is equal to the number of aerial cards in your hand. And of course, as Angel, basically you already have, I mean, a good chunk of his hero cards are aerial already. There's a good chance you've added more. If you build the deck with heavy aerial, then you can pretty much prevent both of those consequential damage in most instances.
Yeah.
So he's really good.
And you only need 2 aerial cards in your hand, but yeah, that shouldn't be that hard to do. Okay, so we got Deathlock here. 4-cost ally. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points, cyborg, X-Force, hero response. After Deathlock enters play, choose an upgrade in any player's discard pile with a cost of 1 or less that can be attached to Deathlock. Attach that upgrade to Deathlock. So if you're playing leadership, you got all sorts of upgrades that you can attach to allies, but if you're playing any other aspect, you just throw a sidearm in your deck so that you can guarantee to get another +1 damage.
Yeah. All right. Well, here we have Marrow. Marrow is a 2-cost ally, thwarts for 1, attacks for 2, has 2 health, has an X-Force ally, and you can only play this one if you have the X-Force or X-Men trait, which you do. But as a response, after Marrow enters play, you deal 2 damage to an enemy. So it's always nice whenever somebody has enter the board ability. So it's really nice.
All right, we have Pete Wisdom. He's a 4-cost ally, 3 hit point, 3 thwart, 2 attack.
He does have 3 hit points, so you were right.
He does have 3 hit points. Yeah. 2 consequential on the thwart. X-Force, play only if your identity has the X-Force trait. Response: after you resolve the when revealed effect of a treachery card, heal 1 damage from Pete Wisdom.
So he's another one that you can keep around a little bit. In fact, it's entirely possible to build a deck here where you've got maybe 3 or 4 allies that never really take a lot of consequential damage.
Now you still have to
come back out.
Still have to suffer the effect of the treachery,
yes.
But you can at least heal them.
Yep. Here we've got Storm, so she's a 5-cost ally, but she does have the aerial trait and X-Men. You can reduce the cost to play Storm by 1 if your identity has the mutant. So she's one that you don't have, or X-Men. You don't have X-Men, but you do have mutants. So whenever you are in the Warren form, you can actually play her for her discount there.
Or if you put the new Children of the Atom in your deck.
You could do that. Yes, that is correct. You actually could do that. I did not pull that card because this is one of the few instances where I see that being a little bit more beneficial here. But she does have the aerial trait and the X-Men. So yeah, I mean, if you did actually do that, you could turn up paying her for 3 instead of 2 or instead of 4. Yeah. But
if you have team building.
Yeah, you have team building. So as an interrupt when Storm thwarts or schemes, when she thwarts a scheme, you can remove 2 threat from that scheme to another scheme. So it allows you to manipulate where things are at. And if you're playing with player side schemes, they're not as bad if they stick around. So you can always move it to a player side scheme and deal with it a little bit later at your convenience. So that's a nice thing there.
All right, then we have Vivian here, 2-cost ally. 2 thwart, 2 consequential, 1 attack, 2 hit points, aerial android champion. After Vivian enters play, choose an attachment, non-elite minion, or a non-permanent side scheme. Until the end of the round, treat the card's printed text box as if it were blank, except for traits. So that's pretty nice. You don't want to turn off an annoying side scheme, like even a crisis. It's like the names are about ready to pop. And you just turn off the crisis, and then you can thwart the main that turn.
Yeah, and now she was a mainstay whenever we were playing Vision a little bit. Heavinger whenever he first came out.
No, that's a signature Vivian.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yep, you are correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the weaker of the 2 Vivians. I mean, she's still good. And
I knew we played Vivian a lot.
You could throw reboot in here, but really the reboot's better with the other Vivian.
Yeah,
you want her to. Her power is when she comes.
Yeah, you want her into the board ability. So. And with that 2 consequential, you bring her out, you thwart with her, and then bring her back. So then we've got we've got Soaring Heights. So that is your team up with Psylocke. It's a 2-cost event. It is aerial and psionic, of course, to match their traits. But as a hero action, you can search your discard pile for an identity-specific event and add that to your hand, and then you ready yourself. Well, you ready both
Both.
Angel and Psylocke. So if you're playing yourself if you've got your uh, if you've got your signature ally out, then you can ready both of those. But if you're playing with the Psylocke player, both characters get to.
Now, it's important to note that it's a team up with Angel and Psylocke.
Yes, not
If
Archangel.
you're Archangel, it will not work. So you do have to coordinate, especially with those.
Yeah, a little bit stronger coordination you normally have to have, but
But as Angel, of course, you can decide when to do it. But if the Psylocke player has this in their deck, then they have to coordinate with you. Like, hey, are you going to be Angel? Or are you going to be Archangel?
yeah.
All right, and then this is a card that came in his kit. Power of Flight. Double the number of resources this card generates while paying for an aerial card. And as you saw, we had quite a few energies, like Wasp and Captain Marvel.
Things that like energy and that are aerial. So.
Right. So this would provide 2 in that case.
Yeah, whenever I first saw this, it didn't click to me at first. And I was like, oh, well, why isn't this wild? I kind of like it a little bit better if it was wild. But then it was like, yeah, Dave pointed out, well, no, the wild actually works with aerial with several of the aerial cards. So I was like, yeah, it had a hidden benefit there that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we should just skip this card. Dirk doesn't like
Yeah,
it.
no, I hate this card. No, this is my favorite X-Force card, I think. The iPack. It's 1-cost support. It's a vehicle X-Force, but you can only play this if you have the X-Force trait. But as a hero action, you can exhaust the iPack card. You deal a face-down encounter card to a player. So it can be any player. And that player draws 2 encounter cards. Or, no, I'm sorry. They get that encounter card, but they draw 2 cards. So that's the great thing. Now you do have to be in hero form to use it, but you can give it to anybody.
Right. Then we got Moira McTaggart. She's a 2-cost support. She's a persona. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait. So here you have the alter ego to player. But after a mutant alter ego changes into hero form, exhaust Moira McTaggart. That controller draws a card. So she's good with X-Force or X-Men.
Yep.
So you don't need to manipulate with Children of the Atom or anything like that.
But of course, coming up, and you do like to flip down and use the Worthington Enterprises, so that's a really nice one. Of course, team building exercise we've already mentioned.
Also known as Worthington Industries, but
what I say?
Enterprises. That's That's Tony Stark.
Semantics.
The stockholders
Hey,
wouldn't.
I remembered the word Worthington. That's good
The
enough.
stockholders wouldn't agree with you.
Good thing I'm not in it for the stockholders. Okay, so team building exercise, we've already mentioned this several times. It's a card that we use a lot here in our play group. But it's a 2-cost support that as a hero action, you can exhaust it. You can play a card from your hand with a 1-cost discount that shares a trait with your hero. So that's a great one. Like I said, I mean, and since you have both the aerial and the X-Force, it will work with either one of those keywords.
Right.
And you can have more than 1 copy so that you can play, either 2 aerial cards at a discount, 1 discount each with 2 copies, or actually you can have 3 copies.
Yeah.
But, or you could play any combination thereof, 2 aerial, 2 X-Force, 1 of each, whatever.
Yeah. So most of the heroes, I usually I'll throw 1 copy in if I'm going tribal. Because usually it's like, oh, they're an Avenger and that's it,
Yep.
But the fact that Angel has 2 keywords, that works for X-Force and it works for Aerial.
Yep.
And if you have 2 X-Force allies, then you can afford to play them both.
Yeah. And the Aerial's a trait that's worth building around. So,
Yes,
it's a good one to play 2 copies of that.
Right.
With. So, in fact, I will actually slightly increase the size of my deck to get a second copy of that one.
All right. So now we got Ready to Rumble. It's a 1-cost upgrade. It's a condition play only. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. After you change forms, discard this card, ready your hero. So Angel has an extra form. So because when you do your once per turn changing form, you can go from hero to alter ego normally. This you can go alter ego to either hero, or a hero to the other hero side, or alter ego.
Yeah, I mean, this is always a decent card, but with these multi-changing heroes, it makes it even better.
Yeah, but for most heroes, you only get the benefit of this card when you go from alter ego to hero, because it is a hero response.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, I flip down, I took a recovery, and then I flip up, and yeah, you could, like Dirk said, you could use this with any hero, And there are some heroes that, even though they only have 2 sides, they might have a good alter ego ability. So you want to go down a little bit more often, maybe. But the fact that this is a triple changer, and anybody who has more than one form, this is a really
Yeah, this is one you could play him and never actually go down into alter ego form if you didn't want to use Worthington. But and then you could still utilize that card though. And of course, X-Gene here. So it's a 1-cost upgrade, but because he is a mutant, you can only play this one while you're a mutant. It's a max 1 per player, but you can exhaust it to generate a wild resource for an identity-specific event. Of course, mutant, you play this one while you're down, and so there's a reason to go down and change forms right there.
Yeah.
But you play this one while you're down. When you come back up, you can use it for your identity-specific event. So that's always a good.
And he's got a lot of identity-specific
does.
events. I mean, he's got, I think, almost. Well, we know Psylocke's not, but I think he's got like 13 events.
So while Dave's counting those, so I did have a couple of other cards that they don't necessarily have the aerial keyword.
So he has 10 events.
Yeah, 10 out of 15 cards. But they do deal with aerial, so I thought that they were worthy additions to this. One of them is Soaring Acrobatics here. Soaring Acrobatics is a 2-cost upgrade. It is a skill, and you can. So what does it say again? You play under any player's control, max 1 per player, but as a hero interrupt, when an aerial character you control uses a basic power, you can exhaust Soaring Acrobatics and you can increase that power by 1. So that means you can increase your defense, you can increase your attack, you can increase your thwart. And it works with any of those. Or recovery, honestly, because, well, no, you are not aerial whenever you're in warden form. So never mind, you can't use the recovery. You could if you had it, but you don't.
There's no honorary aerial.
Yeah, not yet. Not yet. There's no jetpack yet. But so yeah, so you can increase your abilities. So I mean, this is like an extra point on a stick once you get this thing out because you've got aerial here. Okay. And then the last one that I've got, and I really enjoy playing this character. She's a fun one to play. It is a basic ally here.
Oh, ally.
Yeah, she is a basic ally, but in this one, I really thought it was appropriate, and I love using it with it because she's on theme as well here, because this is Snowguard. She's a 4-cost ally, so her thwart and her attack are both 0. I mean, she does have a champion, so she doesn't share any keywords yet. But as a response, whenever Snowguard enters plays, you put 3 shift counters, up to 3 shift counters on her. And depending on the number of shift counters you put on her, she gets specific ability. With the single one, she gets +3 attack, and her attacks gain overkill. If you put 3 on her, she gets +3 thwart, +2 thwart. You put 2 on her, she gets +3
thwart.
+3 thwart, and she gains aerial. So here's where she gets the aerial keyword, and why I like her and why she's on theme. So she thwarts for 3, and she's got the aerial trait. So you can actually even exhaust her if you don't have a side scheme. You can exhaust her for those abilities that require an aerial character to be exhausted. And then if you don't need that or whatever, you can always, if you just need a chump blocker, you put 3 on her, she gets 5 hit points and she gains retaliate.
Plus
So
5 hit points.
Plus 5 hit points and gains retaliate.
8
8 hit points with retaliate. So
Nice.
she's a pretty big chump blocker. So she's really versatile. I love the versatility of her, but because of that aerial keyword that she gains with those 2, she's even more beneficial in Angel than she would be in a normal deck.
Yeah.
So I pretty much put her in every Angel deck I built because she's basic.
Right. But she's still, so if we did 3, she'd still be a 0/0. So she's only
Yes.
for blocking.
Yes, at that point in time, she is a chump blocker. Well, that is unless you put an upgrade on her,
Yeah, that's true.
which you can't put upgrades on.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, anyway, so that was our Angel review and cards that we like to include or we think are good with Angel.
Yeah, and of course, you kind of saw the theme. The biggest thing we saw here is the fact that his aerial keyword, his X-Force keyword, both bring a lot of options in by themselves. But there are still cards, that are outside of that play really well with them. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
and he's a fun one to play. If you haven't played him, you should definitely give him a try when you get a chance.
yeah. So thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe.